Welcome once again to the Book Mind channel, where we do a deep dive conversation on famous English books. Today, we are tackling a principle so fundamental that it can redefine what success and effort truly mean.
It really can. And this is exactly the kind of material that every single learner, professional, or honestly, anyone juggling a million priorities needs to hear. We're centering this deep dive on the principles in the 80-20 principle. Achieve more with less.
Right.
And our mission today is to give you a shortcut to understanding this mindset, how to stop feeling just, busy and start being actually productive.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately, because when most people think about productivity, they think it's linear. You put in 100% effort, you get 100% back. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle, it just shatters that idea. What's the core concept?
The core idea is that most of what you do is, it's largely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Roughly 80% of your meaningful results, your success, your happiness, all of it, comes from just 20% of your efforts.
So it's an idea of a fundamental imbalance.
Exactly, it's inherent. So if you feel like you're constantly on a treadmill, this is designed to help you figure out which 20% of your steps actually move you forward.
I love that framing. It completely flips the script because we're all taught that, equal effort everywhere is the key. But let's rewind a bit. This sounds like something born in a modern self-help seminar, but the roots are much deeper, right?
Oh, much deeper. The principle is named after an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, from the early 20th century. He wasn't trying to write a self-help book. He was just observing economics.
And what did he see?
It was startlingly simple. He found that in Italy, roughly 80% of the land was owned by only 20% of the population.
So it's an observation of resource concentration. It almost sounds like a critique of inequality more than a productivity hack. How did that jump from land ownership to, how I manage my to-do list?
Well, that's where the power of the idea really took off. But decades later, it wasn't Pareto who universalized it. It was others who realized this imbalance, this pattern. It wasn't just about Italian land. It was everywhere.
Like what?
Like 80% of sales come from 20% of your products. Or in tech, 80% of system crashes come from 20% of the bugs.
Okay, so give us a couple of those immediate, relatable examples that really drive it home for someone listening.
Of course, if you're a student, think about your course load. You might have 10 subjects, but maybe only 2 of them are really going to contribute to 80% of your future success or your final GPA.
Those are your vital few.
Exactly. Or in business, and this is a huge one, if you have 10 clients, you might find that 2 of them, just 2, bring in 80% of your revenue.
So you should spend most of your time on those 2, not the other 8 who are noisy but don't really pay the bills.
That's the realization. It's the cornerstone. Focus your finite resources on the vital few. And that first step is just recognizing the difference between the vital few and, the trivial many.
So you have to find that golden 20%.
You do. The tasks, the people, the activities that bring you the biggest rewards.
So how do we do that? It feels like it requires a pretty brutal self-audit.
It does. But it starts by clarifying what success actually means to you. Once you know that, identifying the vital tasks is easier. You have to ask, what tasks contribute most directly to my most important goals? For a writer, that's writing. It's not tweaking their social media bio for an hour.
Right. It's the deep work. And what about relationships? I feel like that's the trickiest application.
Yeah.
The book suggests 20% of people in our lives bring 80% of our happiness. That sounds kind of harsh.
It does sound harsh on paper, you're right. But it's really about energy allocation, not, firing your friends.
Okay, so it's not severance.
No, absolutely not. It's just recognizing you have finite emotional energy. So you identify the key relationships, the people who make you feel valued, who motivate you.
And you consciously invest your time there rather than spreading it thin on relationships that might be draining you. It's about a positive ROI.
Precisely. And the same goes for activities. We have to evaluate what helps us grow and what truly helps us relax. The question isn't just, what am I doing? It's which activities bring me the most joy and help me progress.
Let's talk about Jane, the project manager. Her case study is really eye-opening.
Jane was just drowning in busyness. She tracked her time and found that out of a 40-hour week, she spent 10 hours in meetings.
The trivial many.
The trivial many. Meetings that led nowhere. But she only spent 5 hours on staff training and one-on-one feedback, which was the one thing that actually improved project success.
That's a huge imbalance. And her problem wasn't just her own productivity, it was systemic. It was the 80% of meetings that should have been an email.
That's a great point. But her focus was on personal empowerment. She realized she couldn't fix the company culture overnight, but she could shift her 20%. So she doubled down on staff training and This is key. She committed to morning gym sessions.
And the gym became part of her vital 20% because it gave her the energy and focus for her other important tasks. It's about achieving more with less stress.
Exactly. Which brings us to the other side of the coin, eliminating the trivial many. This is the entropy of modern life, right? The endless emails, social media notifications, the constant pings, they eat up 80% of our time for maybe 20% of the value.
We all know this pain. The case study about Jack, the software developer, really hit home. He was confusing activity with accomplishment.
He was a perfect example. Always busy with minor tasks, answering every email instantly. His performance was suffering because he was always reactive, never proactive.
He was running a mile a minute, but going nowhere on his main goal, actually coding great software.
So we need an actionable guide. How do you actually eliminate this 80%? It feels so urgent, even when it's not important.
It does because it feels productive to be responsive. So the first step is to identify. Ask yourself, what tasks offer very little return? The example of Sarah cutting back on 2 hours of daily online shopping, that's not just a time saving, it's a huge gain in mental clarity.
Okay, so identify. What's next?
Delegate or automate. If a task is unavoidable but trivial to your core mission, get it off your plate. Think of Emma using a meal delivery service. Yes, it cost money, but it freed up hours every day that she then invested in her art portfolio. That's a direct value calculation.
And the third step, which you mentioned is the hardest, is setting boundaries.
It's the hardest but most crucial. You have to learn to say no. It's uncomfortable, but it protects your priorities. The example of David, who is constantly getting interrupted by coworkers.
Right. He set specific office hours for non-urgent questions. Outside of that, his door was closed. That one boundary protected his focus time.
And once you eliminate the trivial many, you have the space to actually manage the vital few. And that's where strategic time management comes in.
This is where we move from a mindset shift to a real functional system. It's all about working smarter, not harder. Time management isn't about cramming more in. It's about making sure what you do is high impact.
And the best tool for this, which aligns perfectly with 80/20, is the Eisenhower box. It forces you to prioritize based on two simple things: urgency and importance.
Let's break down those 4 quadrants for everyone listening.
Of course. First, you have urgent and important. These are crises, deadlines. You do them now. Second, important but not urgent. This is the 80/20 sweet spot. Planning, learning, health, these you schedule.
And that's where most people fall down. They never get to that quadrant. What about the other 2?
The third is urgent but not important. Think interruptions, some emails. These you try to delegate. And fourth, not urgent and not important. Time wasters. Social media scrolling. You just eliminate them.
The genius of it is that it pushes you to live in that second quadrant. Important but not urgent. That's where proactive growth happens. Most people are stuck in the urgent boxes, just fighting fires.
To visualize this, the analogy of the jar is perfect. Imagine your life as an empty jar. The large rocks are your top priorities: your career, health, family. The pebbles are smaller tasks, and the sand is all the trivial stuff.
And if you fill the jar with the sand first, if you start your day with email and busy work, there's no room left for the big rocks.
You've got it. You have to put the big rocks in first. Schedule your vital 20% before anything else gets a chance to take over your time.
This is so critical for setting goals. Let's look at Anna, the graphic designer.
Anna had 3 goals: get a job, improve skills, and build a portfolio. The 80/20 lens showed her that while improving all her skills was good, the one high-impact activity was getting the job. And the best way to do that was with a killer portfolio.
So she made a strategic choice. Instead of spreading her time thin, she focused almost all her energy on refining 3 or 4 key projects for her portfolio. That focus on the vital 20% got her the job.
That's the ultimate lesson. The 80/20 principle isn't just about efficiency. It's a profound mindset shift. It's about achieving so much more, but with less stress, by forcing you to prioritize what really matters.
It truly is. It's about finding genuine liberation from the tyranny of busy work. By identifying your strengths and setting clear boundaries, you guarantee you're focusing your energy where it yields the biggest results.
And that liberation is really what leads to fulfillment.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. If you enjoyed this conversation and learned something new, please remember to like, share, and subscribe our channel.
And we really want to hear from you. Now that you know 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, if you apply the Eisenhower box to your life this week, what is one important and urgent task you will focus on immediately, and what is one not urgent and not important task you will commit to eliminating? Let us know in the comments below.